Baal is the god of life, the god of the sky, the god of the sun. He was the god that was venerated on the site of Baalbek during the Canaanite and the Phoenician times.
Baalbek has always been Lebanon's most puzzling treasure, but when AI scanned its colossal stones, it revealed something beyond human reason. The data exposed patterns, alignments, and precision that shouldn't exist. Baalbek wasn't just built, it was engineered with something we still cannot comprehend. And now, the mystery has deepened. Engineering beyond imagination. Modern engineers are often surprised when they hear about Baalbek. These engineers are experts in building bridges, skyscrapers, and machines that lift buildings. However, when they look at the huge stones at Baalbek, especially the massive blocks called the trilithon, they encounter a challenging engineering mystery. Even the most skilled engineers are unable to explain the questions that arise from this site. The initial obstacle starts at the quarry. Huge stones, each weighing about 800 tons, were carved from solid limestone using ancient tools from the Bronze or Iron Age. How this feat was accomplished remains a mystery. The accuracy in the stone cutting is impressive. Smooth surfaces, sharp edges, and precise measurements indicate intentional shaping, not random hammering. These stones were not roughly split from rock, but meticulously crafted with a level of precision comparable to modern methods. The next issue is transportation. The quarry is located around 1,300 feet away from the temple site. While that may not sound far, the weight of each stone is nearly 3 million pounds, making the task very difficult. In today's world, we would need cranes that can lift over 800 tons to move such a heavy object. The most powerful cranes available can only lift around 1,200 tons, and that is only under ideal conditions on sturdy, flat ground. The land between the quarry and the temple is not smooth. It has bumps and small hills. Moving something so heavy uphill or across rough terrain would have been extremely challenging. Just dealing with the friction alone would have been a huge obstacle, and pulling an 800-ton block, even with wooden rollers or sledges, would have mandated exceptional strength and coordination. But moving the stones was just one part of the job. Another difficult challenge was figuring out where to place them. These enormous stones aren't just laid on the ground. They are lifted up almost 20 feet, meticulously stacked, and placed with incredible precision. The gaps between the stones are so small that they are nearly invisible, showing how perfectly they fit together. The level of alignment is so precise that even modern machinery would struggle to achieve it. The builders would have had to be extremely precise with moving the stones, down to fractions of an inch, a task that would still be challenging even with today's technology. Then there's an issue with the tools being used. Back then, the workers could only use copper or bronze tools, which were softer than the limestone they were working with. This meant the tools would wear out quickly, either breaking or becoming dull after a short amount of use. Constantly having to replace or reshape the tools would have wanted a lot of resources and a never-ending amount of work. Just making enough tools would have been a huge task in itself. Archaeologists have believed for a long time that thousands of workers could have used ropes, wooden rollers, and ramps to move and position these stones slowly over years. However, when engineers crunch the numbers, it just doesn't add up. The manpower mandated would have been too unrealistic. The ramps wanted would have been impossibly huge, and there is no evidence of such massive ramps ever being found. Even if they did try such a project, we would see traces of it around the site, but there are none. It is the combination of cutting, moving, lifting, and aligning that makes Baalbek one of the most puzzling engineering achievements to date. Each of these steps may have been possible on its own, but all of them together create a mystery that appears to be beyond the capabilities of ancient technology. Throughout history, various theories have attempted to clarify the mystery of Baalbek. Some theories are based on scientific evidence, while others delve into the realm of the supernatural. The most widely accepted theory is the brute force theory, supported by mainstream archaeologists. According to this theory, a large number of workers used basic tools like wooden rollers, ropes, sledges, and sheer physical strength to transport and arrange the massive stones over a long period of time. While this theory may seem feasible in theory, the specifics, such as the exact number of workers mandated or how they managed to move the stones uphill, remain unclear. Another idea is the theory of lost technology. which suggests that ancient civilizations might have had advanced tools or techniques that are now forgotten. It's possible that they had special ways of using leverage, balance, or cutting that we don't know about anymore. They could have been more skilled in metallurgy than we realize. While there isn't a lot of evidence, this theory is compelling because history has shown that ancient people were capable of amazing accomplishments that were once thought to be impossible. One theory suggests that the stones at ancient sites were made from concrete instead of being carved and moved. This would have made it easier to transport the stones. However, tests have shown that the stones are natural limestone, not man-made material, so this theory has been dismissed. Some theories about ancient builders are more speculative. One interesting idea is the acoustic levitation theory, which proposes that sound frequencies could have been used to lift and transport heavy objects. Although experiments have demonstrated that sound waves can levitate small items, there is no proof that it could be scaled up to move 800-ton stones. Despite this, the theory is captivating because it presents a creative and intriguing idea. One more daring theory is the electromagnetic theory, suggesting that ancient civilizations may have utilized advanced electromagnetic or anti-gravity technologies. Those who believe in this theory often point to ancient texts mentioning flying devices or unknown energy sources as proof of sophisticated systems. However, conventional science has not found any evidence to back up this idea. The extraterrestrial theory is very popular. It proposes that aliens from another planet came to Earth and helped build Baalbek. Supporters of this theory think only advanced beings could have moved the massive stones with such accuracy. There is no solid evidence for this theory, but it still gets a lot of interest. It gives a unique and exciting explanation for a mystery that has not been solved. The theory of giants also has people who believe in it. It comes from old stories about huge beings who lived among humans and were very strong. Some think these giants built Baalbek. Tales from different ancient societies talk about these beings, but there is no proof that they existed. The multiple civilization theory proposes that Baalbek was constructed by various cultures throughout history, rather than just one. Some believe the foundation could be ancient, possibly built by an advanced prehistoric society, then altered by Phoenicians, and finally expanded by the Romans. This combination of different methods and periods may clarify the mix of architectural styles and the enigma of how Baalbek was built. Every theory attempts to solve some aspects of the mystery, but does not address all the questions. No theory provides a comprehensive or completely proven answer. When AI redefined the genius of Baalbek's builders. In the past, experts thought that the builders made use of chisels and hammers to shape the blocks. However, the AI, which studied tiny tool marks on the rocks and compared them to wear patterns from many cutting methods, came to a different conclusion. It found that a water-based cutting technique was used to shape the stones, which was much more advanced than what was previously thought to be possible during that time. Based on the AI's analysis, it is believed that ancient workers used bronze saws, abrasive slurries, and controlled water channels to cut through limestone. They appeared to have knowledge of the natural cracks in the rock, enabling them to cut with great accuracy. While this method may have been slower than using chisels directly, it resulted in smooth and well-fitted surfaces on the trilithon stones. The AI suggests that this innovative cutting technique could have decreased the necessary workforce by around 40% compared to traditional methods. The AI made another significant discovery when studying how the large stones were moved. It ran many simulations to test various methods like sledges, rollers, and pulleys, and combinations of them. The AI ultimately determined that a unique hybrid system was likely used, different from any other ancient site. The wooden rollers were utilized in a more complex and organized way than originally thought. The AI analysis indicated that the rollers may have been arranged in a staggered or layered way to evenly distribute the weight of the stones, preventing them from sinking into the ground. This design made moving the stones easier and safer. It also showed that the path from the quarry to the temple complex was not as previously thought. Instead of taking the shortest route, the builders may have opted for a longer but smoother path to avoid steep inclines. This decision showcased both intelligence and practicality. The most surprising discovery was made next. The AI examined how the trilithon stones were arranged and their placement in relation to nearby buildings, and discovered secret geometric shapes. These shapes showed that the creators were not only building a temple base, but also aligning it with certain events in the sky. The accuracy of these alignments, particularly with the sunrise during the solstice, indicated that the creators had advanced understanding of astronomy. What's even more interesting is that the AI determined these alignments would have been more precise thousands of years earlier than scholars originally thought the site was built, leading to questions about when Baalbek was first established. One of the most intriguing findings of the AI was understanding how the builders balanced the weight of the trilithon stones. Rather than just placing them next to each other, they used a method known as stress dissipation geometry to evenly spread the weight of the massive blocks. This technique ensures that no single point in the foundation experiences too much pressure. The interlocking shapes of the stones help distribute force, similar to how modern computer-assisted designs work. The amazing thing is that the builders were able to accomplish this without the use of computers, advanced equipment, or modern math tools. The AI determined that they must have either learned through observation and centuries of practice or had a deeper understanding of math than they were given credit for by history. The AI made an interesting discovery about the foundation of the trilithon. The bedrock underneath is not the same everywhere. It can support different amounts of weight in different places. Despite this variation, the stones were placed very accurately, directly over the strongest parts of the bedrock. The AI determined that if the stones had been placed just slightly differently, the foundation would have been less stable. This led to another question. How did the ancient builders figure out which areas were more or less solid beneath the Earth's surface? The AI proposed that they could have used basic methods of geophysical surveying, like simple water or sound tests, to find differences underground. While there is no proof of these methods, the precise placement of the stones suggests they did not rely solely on guesswork. Artificial intelligence continued its analysis. It looked at the connections between the trilithon stones and made an incredible discovery. These connections were not just flat, they were curved and designed to securely lock the stones in place. As more weight was added from above, the stones would automatically tighten against each other, making the structure more stable. This meant that the more weight on top, the stronger the foundation below became. This idea is similar to concepts seen in intricate Japanese carpentry, where joints are meant to become sturdier when pressure is applied instead of becoming loose. The discovery of this principle at Baalbek indicates that the builders there had a high level of technical knowledge that goes against what we typically think about the history of engineering: hidden lessons and celestial secrets. People thought the large unfinished stones were abandoned projects, but the AI revealed they were intentional displays. These stones were not mistakes. They were instructional tools purposely left behind to demonstrate how the ancient builders operated. The stone called the Stone of the Pregnant Woman and the bigger block underneath it show different stages of how they were cut from the quarry. By closely examining how the stones were cut, artificial intelligence concluded that these stones were purposely left to demonstrate the various steps of working with stone. The markings on the stones indicate a progression from rough shaping to more detailed finishes, indicating that they were made for teaching and practice rather than for building. This discovery adds a new aspect to Baalbek. It is more than just a place of amazement, but also a place where stone-working techniques were honed and shared. Each detailed carving in the rock appears to teach a lesson from history on how such remarkable precision was accomplished. The AI made another unexpected discovery. It analyzed the amount of stone that was removed, the way it was cut, and how quickly tools could realistically remove material to estimate how many workers were wanted. This contradicted the belief that tens of thousands of workers were wanted. Instead, the AI suggested that only a small, specialized group of maybe a few hundred skilled craftsmen worked very efficiently over a long period. This concept aligns well with the exactness observed at Baalbek. If there were too many workers without proper training, the work would have been slower and more prone to mistakes. The level of precision seen in the large stones can only be achieved by teams who are knowledgeable in their craft and work together seamlessly. As a result, the site showcases a skilled and organized workforce rather than a disorganized group of workers. The AI found something interesting on the quarry floor, channels and depressions that looked like an old water management system. The analysis suggests that the quarry could have been intentionally flooded sometimes. Workers might have used water pressure and natural freeze-thaw cycles to help remove large stones from the rock. If this technique is proven to be true, it would show an impressive level of engineering skills in ancient times. It indicates that the people who built this structure knew how to work with stone and understood how temperature and water affected it. By strategically using the cold winter weather to break the stone along specific lines, they could have saved time and effort while still achieving precision. Their knowledge of how water and natural forces work demonstrates a surprising level of scientific understanding for that period in history. However, the AI's findings did not stop at engineering. Its study of Baalbek's positioning in space showed alignments that are hard to explain. When the AI compared the placement of the large trilithon stones with ancient sky maps, it found that the temple complex lined up perfectly with the sunrise on the summer solstice. But not as it looks now, but as it would have been seen thousands of years ago. This alignment considers the gradual change in the Earth's axis, which causes the positions of stars and celestial events to shift over time. If the builders wanted to achieve this precise alignment, they must have built the structure much earlier than previously thought or had knowledge of astronomical cycles before they were recorded. The AI discovered that there is a special pattern in the ruins. Other buildings at Baalbek line up with certain stars that were visible in the sky in the past. The chance of these alignments happening randomly is extremely low, indicating that they were intentionally designed. These alignments were not haphazard, but purposeful placements to signify important cosmic events and link the site to the sky. Baalbek is more than just a massive construction project, it is also a huge astronomical record etched in stone. The builders preserved the alignment of the stars in their buildings, sending a message connecting Earth to the cosmos. Other ancient sites around the world also have similar celestial patterns, like Stonehenge in England, the pyramids of Giza, and temples in India. This suggests that there may have been a common knowledge or separate discoveries influenced by a mutual interest in the universe. It is not clear if ancient civilizations shared knowledge or came up with similar ideas on their own, but the evidence suggests a worldwide trend of human curiosity and intelligence. Baalbek is now seen as proof of amazing engineering skills and also demonstrates humanity's long-standing connection to the stars, which transcends time, culture, and geography. Secret chambers and advanced tools. The voids were located beneath the gigantic trilithon stones, prompting questions about how they were placed there and for what purpose. The researchers were surprised to find underground chambers near the temple, and now they are wondering if these were built before the temple or carved out later. This goes against what we know about ancient engineering. This discovery presents a huge challenge to our modern understanding. While there have been some subterranean features at Baalbek before, nothing compares to what the AI found. The archaeologists had mapped some tunnels and passages underground, but these new chambers are bigger, more intricate, and more organized than anything seen before. There are different ideas about why these chambers were built. Some scholars think they were used for practical reasons during the construction, like as work areas or storage for tools and equipment. They might have also been used for counterweights to help lift the heavy stones. Others think they were built for spiritual or ceremonial purposes because they are located under the largest stones. These underground areas could have been meant for sacred rituals, ceremonies, or to symbolize a connection to the underworld, which is a common theme in ancient buildings. Researchers are most excited about the possibility that these chambers have been sealed and untouched since they were built. If there are artifacts, inscriptions, or tools still inside, it could change our understanding of the people who built Baalbek, their technology, culture, and reasons for building. But getting into these spaces is difficult. The trilithon stones on top are holding up a lot of weight, and trying to move them could make the whole platform unstable. Some scientists have suggested using non-invasive techniques, like fiber optic cameras or robotic probes through small holes, to investigate the empty spaces without harming the structure. However, these approaches need to be carefully planned, funded, and approved. Until these methods are used successfully, the secret of what is beneath Baalbek remains unknown, kept in stone and silent, waiting for the day it can be uncovered. When artificial intelligence examined the large stones at Baalbek, it uncovered a new mystery. The AI discovered patterns in the tool marks on the stones that did not match what archaeologists would expect from ancient tools like copper or bronze chisels. Instead, the markings indicated a more advanced process, suggesting that the early builders had a level of technical knowledge and experimentation that was previously unrecognized. The AI determined that these carvings were not made with regular tools, but with more advanced methods. There were clues that suggested they used tools made by combining different materials like softer metals and harder minerals or abrasives. This blend may have helped ancient craftsmen cut through stone more effectively and precisely. It also appeared that the rock may have been treated with heat or chemicals, indicating that ancient builders were experimenting with different techniques to improve their craftsmanship. The high level of accuracy indicated that the designs were not created randomly, but through a careful and thoughtful process, much like how industries create specific tools for difficult jobs. The patterns were so consistent and uniform that they couldn't have been made by chance or on-the-spot decisions. They showed evidence of training, strict organization, and a technical knowledge that has been handed down from generation to generation of skilled artisans. One of the most surprising findings from the AI's research was the identification of marks on the tools that looked like the ones made by ultrasonic cutting. This resemblance suggests that ancient builders might have used sound and resonance principles in their work, which is a concept that modern science is just starting to explore. Despite the fact that the actual appearance may not be as advanced, the quality of the marking still shows a lot about the skill of the builders. These individuals had a good understanding of their materials, managed their workers efficiently, and created consistent processes that led to accurate and replicable outcomes. This indicates a culture that placed importance on knowledge, upheld skilled craftsmanship, and potentially passed down that wisdom through the years. The discoveries found beneath Baalbek, including hidden chambers and mysterious tool marks, reveal the impressive ancient craftsmanship, mathematical secrets in the stones of Baalbek. The AI study of Baalbek went further than just looking at the size and location. It revealed hidden patterns in the dimensions of the trilithon stones, showing a more intentional design than previously thought. One of the most significant findings was the consistent ratios and proportions seen throughout the site. The golden ratio, 1,618, was frequently present, a number linked to balance, beauty, and harmony. This indicates that the builders were not just placing stones for practical reasons, but were using mathematics to convey a deeper philosophy, combining engineering expertise with a grasp of universal principles. However, these discoveries went beyond just the outward appearance of the structure. The AI uncovered many Pythagorean triples, which are geometric connections that create flawless right angles and precise leveling. It was clear that these patterns were not random occurrences. The chances of these mathematical alignments happening by coincidence were determined to be very slim. This indicates that the builders used a meticulous process, ensuring precise measurements and carefully considering even the smallest differences in the stone's shapes and surfaces, all while maintaining ideal proportions. Each cut and placement seemed deliberate, showcasing not only skillful workmanship, but also a deep comprehension of geometry and harmony. Some of the measurements at the site are related to astronomical values linked to the Earth, Moon, and Sun, adding to the mystery. The correlations are interesting, whether they are accidental or deliberate. If the correlations were intentional, it could mean that the people who built Baalbek had a deep understanding of astronomy that exceeds what is typically believed about ancient civilizations. The architecture at Baalbek was not just about physical structures, but also about conveying messages in a hidden way. The use of numbers and proportions in the design reflected scientific and cosmic principles and were carved into stone to last permanently. One of the great benefits of AI technology is its capability to compare vast amounts of data from various archaeological sites worldwide. By examining the measurements and building techniques of Baalbek alongside locations such as Stonehenge, Göbekli Tepe, Pumapunku, Easter Island, and the Egyptian pyramids, researchers found striking similarities. Even though these ancient sites are thousands of miles apart and were constructed in different eras, they displayed common characteristics in terms of method, alignment, and purpose. This hints at the possibility that megalithic construction was not arbitrary or unrelated, but rather part of a broader human heritage. AI discovered that builders in different regions preferred using huge stones that were often bigger than what was wanted for the structure's stability. These large blocks could have represented the idea of lasting forever, a connection to the divine, or a display of great power. The precise arrangements and skilled placements suggested a common objective to construct something that would endure through the ages. Additionally, there were noticeable similarities in their methods of construction. Builders worldwide made sure their foundations were level, positioned their monuments in alignment with the stars, and crafted stone joints so precise that even present-day tools find it challenging to reproduce them. However, Baalbek was unique compared to other ancient sites. It excelled in both being extremely large and precise in its construction. The stones used in Baalbek were some of the largest ever manipulated by humans, yet they were assembled with incredibly accurate fittings. When artificial intelligence analyzed the geometry of Baalbek and compared it to the precise craftsmanship of Pumapunku, the similarities were surprising. This similarity in craftsmanship raises important questions. Did different cultures independently develop these techniques, or do they suggest a shared ancient knowledge network? The ancient puzzle that challenges everything. If the mysteries of Baalbek are as deep as AI indicates, then our understanding of ancient history may need to be changed. The site shows evidence of societies with impressive engineering and organizational abilities. It shows a high level of skill in mathematics, astronomy, and material science that was ahead of its time. This knowledge suggests that the builders were more advanced than previously believed, bringing them closer to civilizations much later in history. It implies that ancient civilizations may have been more advanced than we thought. The discoveries challenge the usual belief in human progress. Instead of a continuous advancement, history may have periods of great achievement followed by loss and rediscovery. Baalbek could be one of these exceptional moments in human creativity and intelligence, where technical knowledge reached a peak not seen again for many years. This concept alters our view of human innovation, illustrating how knowledge can fluctuate over time and reappear in different ways. Beside engineering, the complexity of Baalbek shows how knowledge and culture were closely linked. The use of mathematical ratios, astronomical alignments, and large-scale architecture at the site indicates that the builders were not simply constructing buildings. Instead, they were imbuing their work with meaning by aligning it with cosmic patterns and spiritual concepts. Building, to them, was about more than just creating structures. It was a way to connect human endeavors with the larger universe. If these interpretations are accurate, they go beyond just changing our understanding of ancient engineering. They also make us rethink the intellectual and spiritual aspects of early societies, revealing that logic and belief used to be interconnected. Despite the progress made in studying Baalbek using AI, many questions still surround the ancient site. The exact timeline for the construction of the temple complex is still unknown. It is unclear if it took years, decades, or even longer to build. The reason for using such huge stones is also a mystery, as smaller blocks would have been enough structurally. These choices may point to reasons beyond practicality, such as symbolic, ritualistic, or political motives. However, without written records, these ideas are just possibilities and not definitive conclusions. The mysterious underground anomalies found by AI under the site are very fascinating. These secret chambers haven't been explored yet, but they could contain important clues like inscriptions, tools, or artifacts that could help solve the mystery of who built Baalbek and why. The most important answers to the puzzle may still be hidden underground, waiting to be discovered. Another important question is, who built the structure? What knowledge did they have, and how was it passed on or forgotten? These mysteries keep Baalbek interesting to both historians and scientists.